Today my speaker is Dick Bossung, and I'm glad he's here because he brought out a lot of you West Lafayette people that don't come too often.
Where you been, Greg?
Yeah, but they're sitting right in front here. Yeah, Dick graduated from West Lafayette High School in 1954, and then he got his bachelor's at Purdue in 1958, and then immediately went to work and stayed there for 44 years at West Lafayette High School. From 1958 to 2002, 44 years, so that's a real nice record. He has 2 children, and I haven't had much of a chance to talk to him too much because he's always talking to old buddies or old students here. So I'm going to turn it over to Dick, and he's going to talk to us about statistics.
All right. Now, is that coming through good?
Nice.
Yes. Okay, that's what I want. The one thing these guys have not made comments about, I taught the driver education program. I also taught sex education. So if either one of them get out of line, I will talk about their performances in the classroom, what they were very good at. And we'll just leave it at that. We'll go from there. But,
I only got 2 kids.
I know it. That surprised me. But Craig, I'll get to you later. So yeah, I know that. That's good. My background, I've been in the Lafayette area for 79 years. And it started at St. Boniface Grade School for 8 years. And then I went to West Side, as he pointed out. And over the years, I have been involved with various types of sports activities that most people don't get to do. And it started when I was 12 years old here in the Lafayette area, being part of the Lafayette Little League All-Star team that played in Williamsport. And a lot of those people are still in the Lafayette area, and of the 14 members of that team, probably I could still name about 12 of them because it was a great group of kids led by Harry Slack. If any of you were in the Lafayette area when Harry was around, you knew he did great things. I had inspiration from 2 very good coaches as a youth. One was at St. Boniface. His name was John Eberly. And John did a great job. He coached at Central Catholic after that. And then I got together with Gordon Straley. And Gordon was tremendous. When I was a student, he had me by him on the sidelines. I charted some of the football games for him when I was going through Purdue. And then when I graduated from Purdue, he hired me through Bill Floyd, the superintendent, back immediately. And it was such a bad job, I stayed 44 years. And 35 of them we coached football, and in those 35 years we had 2 seasons which we didn't have winning seasons. And I helped Marshall a little bit with one of his state championship teams. So I had part of 2 state championship teams, 1 runner-up. All the time I've been doing that stuff, I just gathered information, and I got lucky doing things that, again, most of you would have never done. One of those happened in 1961. I'm 25 years old. I walk into Lambert Fieldhouse. Joe Dienhart, who was the assistant athletic director at Purdue, said, "You took my officiating class. Are you still officiating?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm working maybe 15 high school basketball games." I said, "I'm still coaching and stuff, so I don't have time to work a lot." He said, "Where's your stuff?" I said, "At home." He said, "You're working the Purdue game tonight." I said, "All right, and why am I doing that?" And you people are old enough, do you remember a little short referee out of Chicago named Jimmy Enright? When Jimmy Enright refereed, the foul is on, that's how he did it. He got snowbound and couldn't get to the game. And he had his partner with him. So Purdue is playing Michigan State with Terry Dishinger playing, and Dish gets 52 points that night. He wanted to know if I could come back the rest of the year. That was talk about being scared. I mean, Joe Dienhart takes me out, puts me in a police car. They drive me to my home. I pick up my stuff. I come back. Ray Shoemaker from Lafayette, who was a good high school official, we worked the game. And I would love to have a film of it just to see how bad a job I did. I got a check for $100.10 from the Big Ten office. $100 for doing the game, 10 cents because it was a mile to my house and a mile back. We got 5 cents a mile. So that was it. Now, as these guys could tell you, when I teach school, you are going to have quizzes. But I reward you because I've got questions I'm going to ask, and I brought 4 hats here that I've collected from CBS. And if you answer the question right, you will be able to claim one of those, and Jim's going to be the delivery guy for it. You people are old enough, you will know that I asked this question about 6 weeks ago at a place that everybody looked at me like I was the dumbest guy in town. You people were all around in 1945. Who beat the Cubs in the World Series?
Tigers. Detroit.
You got it. Pick a hat. Detroit Tigers. Same team that the Cubs beat in 08, the last time they won a World Series. So that's little things that I have to know with the work that I do. Work with announcers doing sports information. I'm called a talent statistician. And I sit right next to the announcers at football games or right next to the announcers at basketball games. I'm feeding them information during the entire game, keeping up with it. So we got rid of one hat. We're going to ask a second question that you people should know. What Purdue basketball player scored over 30 points in 46 of his college games at Purdue? All right, whoever said it first, give him a hat. That question's too easy. We're going to mark that one off. I'll give you one I'll bet you don't get. Last year, and these are questions that have been asked me when I'm sitting next to the announcers, and I've got to write an answer for them to them right away. And I tell them, anytime I write something for you, if I don't know it is correct, I won't give it to you. But never question what I give you. Because if you question me and I'm right, you're going to give me $20. And if I'm wrong, I'll give you the $20. Last year in this game, A.J. Hammond scored 1,000th point. Who was the first Purdue player to score 1,000 points in his career? Because he went to Lafayette. Jeff?
Eddie Brady.
Who?
Eddie Brady.
No. No. Who'd you have? Let me tell you this, the first name was right.
Denny Blind.
Denny Blind is correct. Denny Blind scored 1,011 points between 1952 and 1955. He was the first, and then there were 32 more, with Hammond's being the last one. We've had some pretty good athletes in Tippecanoe County.
Who gets this?
I don't know. Who answered the question? Oh, okay. All right, that's good. We've had good athletes in the Lafayette area. The best Major League Baseball player from the Lafayette area, and there hasn't been a lot of baseball players that made the major leagues. One of them, his rookie year, was Rookie of the Year, had a 3.5 or 2.5 ERA his first year in the majors, playing for a losing team. That team was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Bob Friend. Whoever got it, you got it in there.
There it is.
Okay, that was it. Oh, we got one more. Will I get one more question to give you? We got Denny Blind out of the way. We got the Cubs out of the way. They've been out of the way for a long time. What Lafayette area football player, that's Lafayette Jeff, West Lafayette, Central Catholic, Harrison McCutcheon, have played in a Super Bowl?
Dave Butts.
Who?
Dave Butts. No.
He didn't graduate from Lafayette School. G.K. O'Keefer, West Lafayette.
Hey.
There you go. See, now, next time when you play golf, you can... No, that's your hat you're giving away. He gets this one. All right. Now, we got all the hard work out of the way. Let's get back to what I do. What I do working with these announcers, I have forms that I use. You say, well, what do you keep on the forms? What do they need to know? Football game. Every quarterback on my form, quarterback A, which is the first quarterback of the team, I have 50 slots for him. I have to know and have available immediately the number of passes he has thrown, the number that are completed, the gain on every play, the total accumulation on the thing, how many interceptions he has, and how many touchdown passes he has. That's just on the quarterbacks. I have another line for the second quarterback. When they say, well, why do you put that? Like most schools don't play more than one. I said, because when they get over 51, I got line 51 through 75. And I've done games where they have thrown 75 passes in a game. And that's what I do. Then I've got the receivers. Oh, how many did they catch? How long was each reception? What is the total yardage they've gained a day? How many passes have they dropped? And now they've added a new category that I got to put in. How many times were they thrown to? So I've got to have that for every receiver that is on there. Then I have to keep in football the punter, the field goal kicker, and I have to keep every penalty, how many yards each penalty was, the assessment of how many yards total they've been penalized for the game, and timeouts, and all those things. So that's all what I keep on each team. So when Team A's got the ball, I've got it here, my form, my turnover, and Team B's on the backside. And I have to have that information. Most announcers, when they have a play run, Curtis runs for 3 yards. He wasn't fast enough to go any farther than that. After 3 yards, they would do it, and then I have to have 3 on my hand in front of him. Because the announcers can't figure out he went from the 20 to the 23, that's going to be good. So I have to give them every play. They have to do that. Then I got to get it on my board, get my totals all in line. So that's football. Football used to be easy because there was time between plays.
Yeah.
Now, there are no, used to be a football game would have about 68 to 72 plays per team. Am I fading?
Sometimes you just whack it.
Okay. If I start, holler at me and I'll whack it here. And, you know, it used to be we'd had that there. There were games last year where I had over 200 total plays in the game. These hurry-up offenses, you don't have time. The announcers don't have time to talk. The producers in the truck don't have time to show you replays. You say, boy, that was a great replay, I want to see it. If there's a dead time, you may get to see a replay of it because it goes so fast anymore you can't do it. We get into basketball, and what does my schedule look like? I have usually 12 to 14 football games. Last year I had football games at Auburn, at Alabama, at Oregon, at USC. Had one at Purdue. That was nice. I could drive, come back home. But I had 13 last year, and I had 45 basketball games. And with basketball, every player, I have to have all kinds of information. Their field goals, attempts made, total points, three-pointers attempted and made, free throws attempted and made, personal fouls, total points, assists, and rebounds on every player that's on the floor for both teams. I don't drink a lot the night before the game, but when the game is over, I have been known to imbibe once or twice just to do it. You say, what's the hardest part of the job? The travel is very difficult. The college football games, the crew I work with ESPN has the Saturday night primetime game. And so we have to be there. I have to leave on the first flight Saturday morning out of Indianapolis, or Friday morning, and then I cannot leave until Sunday because the game gets over about 11 o'clock on Saturday night. A football crew is made up of 40 to 50 people. And if you look at ESPN's schedule, they will sometimes have 15 games on a Saturday. They take the top 3 Big Ten games are on ESPN. Then Big Ten Network gets what's left over. And so it's really unusual, but travel is terrible because I am not called until Monday morning to tell me where I have to be on Saturday. And then they will say, now try to get a cheap ticket. I'm thinking, you're going to get me to California from Indianapolis and you want a cheap ticket. And they do it. Do they pay? Everybody pays well. And this has been a great second job to have. Well, I had my teaching and everything. I started doing the stats in the 70s and stuff, and I have made over $500,000 doing nothing but stats for announcers. And it's been a great job. It has its drawbacks. And give you an example, a death in a family means nothing to the network. And it's the hardest thing to do. I was doing Olympics with Tim Ryan, and his mother died suddenly. We were in a foreign country, and CBS said, "You may not leave. We have no one to replace you." And I thought that was cruel until last year when my wife died on a Friday, and I called because I was to do some games for ESPN on Saturday. And I said, "My wife has just died. I would like to be out of my assignment." And right away, the producer said, "We can't get anybody. You will be expected to be here tomorrow." So she died on Friday morning, and Saturday I did 2 basketball games for them. Went back on Monday and did 1 more. So it's got its drawbacks. It's fun. I've met a lot of great people. I've had some great analysts that I've worked with over years and some good announcers. Tim Ryan would be the one that I would say by far is the best announcer that I had the privilege of working with. I worked with Sean McDonough, and Sean is a great announcer, and Sean is so good, and he does college football. College football is tougher than NFL because colleges dress 98 people per game. Sean McDonough has charts like I do, and all 98 players on each team, he has got a personal note about him. If the 3rd string long snapper comes in, he can tell you that he was an Eagle Scout at such an age and does that. That's preparation. And then you have some other announcers that I don't even want to work with anymore, and I have a right to refuse, and I do, that will come in and they're going to talk the game and they don't know nothing about anything. And so, you know, there are good, there are bad. Probably in every business you've been in, you have the same type of people. Analysts that I've had the privilege of working with, Joe Theismann, the Notre Dame quarterback, Washington Redskins quarterback. He was a problem to work with when he was dating this Hollywood actress named Kathy Lee Crosby. And she was a beautiful woman. And on the Saturdays before the NFL games, when we were to attend the meetings, I would go to the meeting with the announcers. And there would be the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the quarterback, and the defensive middle linebacker. Except when he would bring Miss Crosby, and my job was to take her to the pool and make sure that nobody bothered her. That was a tough assignment. When I got married, my wife did not like that assignment at all, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Terry Bradshaw we worked with, and Terry was assigned with Tim Ryan. And we got to the first game. That's the first time I'd ever met the individual. And after the first meeting, we were all sitting there, and dinner was over, and we went back to the hotel, and Tim said that Bradshaw had been notified by CBS that this was going to be his final year if he did not improve his performance. And so he worked very hard, and as you know, he is still working. And it was because of what he was taught by Tim Ryan. And at the end of that season, I got a nice 2-page letter from Terry talking about what he appreciated that I had done for him. And I've still got that letter at home because it means a lot to me that he appreciated what all we did. Matt Millen was one of the funniest guys I've ever worked with. Matt's career has gone up and down all over the place. He is this year going to work with the Big Ten Network, but he was the lead guy on Fox for a while. He was a lead guy on CBS as an NFL analyst, and his career has kind of gone downhill. But he was always fun to be around and did a great job. So those are kind of the things that we do. When I'm sitting there, if you see me at a basketball game, I've got a double muff headset on because I am listening in this ear to the announcer and the analyst. And that way, if the analyst is saying A.J. Hammonds has 7 rebounds, and I have to verify that or say yes or no, so he knows, and if he's wrong, he wants to know what the right number is. And I've got to get that to him. In this here, I'm talking to a girl in the truck who enters all the information that I give her. I'm talking to her. I can't talk to them. If I want to get them information, I got to write it and hand it to them. So I'm listening to that. So you're going to sit there for 3.5 hours with a football game with 2 guys talking in this here, the girl, and then if the producer wants me, they get on and do it. It gets hectic at times. Needless to say, very, very hectic. Probably one of the things that was it wasn't a memory, but it was a difficult thing, doing the NCAA basketball tournament, and final play of an overtime game. Team A has 81 points, Team B has 80. Team B has the ball, the guy's dribbling in backcourt, he shoots it, it goes in. Tommy Rucker, who was a Big Ten official for a number of years, standing right in front of me, he goes like this, I say 3 points, final score 83-81. So that's what goes up on the air. Guy doing the scorebook, he put down it was a 2-point shot. What's the problem? The point spread was 1.5 points. And that tilted. So I got called to the announcer's room and he said, New York wants to talk to us. I said, okay, what'd I do? Well, you got to tell them what you did. And so they said, why did you give us 83 when the scorebook has 82? I said, because the official standing right in front of me signaled 3 points. So that's what I gave you. And they actually went to Tom Rucker and said, yes, he did. The scorebook is wrong. The final score was 83. That's life when you work for these people. You never know what you're getting. That's all I got for you. I hope I didn't bore you. Just keep it going. Anybody got a question, I can try to answer for you. Yes?
Are those forms that you make up, are those yours? Or
They are mine, and they are used by about 7 or 8 other sports statisticians around the country. I made them up over the years with what I needed because I knew what announcers, and when, like, I worked 15 years with Tim Ryan, so I knew what Tim was going to work. Tim stopped working when Fox took over the NFL football because Tim's wife had developed Alzheimer's and died in 2 years from it. She was 48 years old, and she looked as nice as Crosby did. And so he would not change because he needed insurance to cover her. But I made up the forms. Those are the things that every announcer needs on every play, and I have to tell the truck. Now you say, do you have monitors? Yes. Do you use the monitors? Very little. Because all of the monitors at Purdue, which they use now, are all 15 seconds slow. When somebody scores a basket, if it's 3 points and he now has 11 points, not 8, and they look over the monitor and it says 8, they're going to say 8. That's why I got to have my sheet pointing to 11, and they know it's right. Yes, sir?
Where do you collect all the data? From the team?
Where do I collect it? The schools have websites that I can go to before a game. And what I will have on college players is I will have their highest game, like a quarterback. What is the most number of passes he has completed in a game this year? What is the most passes he's completed in his career? And the same way with receivers. So I have career and I have season on every player on my board. And it takes, take about 2 hours of preparation per team on a football game. Basketball, everything that I mentioned that I do, 3-point shooting, I have their career and season marked on my charts. But there's only usually 10 players on each team. Football is much more difficult to do. But that's information I have to have because I want to be able to tell him that he's throwing 4 interceptions in a game his freshman year against Humpty Dumpty State or whoever they played. Yes?
If you were interviewing your replacement, what skills or what would you be looking for as a distinguishing criteria to select that person?
First thing I would tell him, be as honest with your announcer at all times. Never tell him something that you don't know is a fact. And if there's a run and it's 35 yards and you say it's 34, that's a human error. Don't worry about it. But if you tell somebody that he has scored 46 games with 30 points or plus, and it's not true, that gets the announcer into trouble. Your announcer has to trust you first. It's just like a caddy with a pro golfer. If they don't trust the caddy, they'll never listen to anything he says. And your announcers are the same way. So establishing trust, and take the time to do the research. You've got to research it. You've got to know what you're talking about, because once you let something go that's not right, you have destroyed your credibility. Yes, Chuck.
Dick, you might add one more thing to your column to keep you busy.
What's that?
The left tackle, how many times he succeeds in blocking the defensive end so the quarterback can make his passes.
I don't keep that, but I have to be able to tell you how many times the left tackle went off sides in a game. I do keep that.
Why would you do that?
Well, where I've got the penalty area, I write the number of the player having the penalty. So when Chuck Craw jumps off sides in the backfield, leaning forward when you should not be doing that, I will have that note for you. Folks, I know you got other things to do, but any other questions? And I'll stay for a while if you do, and you want to know about how they were in class, I'll give you a little information. Thank you very much.
Dick, we thank you very much. That was very interesting. And we do have this special gift for you. However, I think to keep track of all the things you keep track of, you probably need about 15 of these. So
I can use it. There's always a place for it in the book.
yeah, slips right in your pocket.
Because the one thing I will add, they always say, how come we never see you on camera? Because this thing right here in my ear, if I'm working right here and he's the announcer and they say camera, I have to be down here because I can't be seen on camera. If I'm seen on camera, they got to pay me more, and they sure as hell don't want to do that.
You got a face for radio.